Grand Risings, Grand Risings. I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me on your show. Wow, that's incredible. Yes. So you're going to be a little too busy. Well, no, I'm very happy to hear your news, and the fact that makes me happy as though it was my news. And Ankh means give life. So Ankh, the Science of Kemetic Yoga, did premiere in Las Vegas on June 18th. It was a very successful premiere. We had people come in from Seattle and Los Angeles, along with the local Las Vegans, and there was approximately 150 people there, with plus vendors and vegan food vendors and a couple of the local vendors here. It was incredible. The film is a documentary. It's 82 minutes long, and at this point, anyone who is interested in seeing it, you can see it on Vimeo.com, and you would type in Ankh, which is DI space ANKH. Okay, we can see that we can see that it originated in a land and a place where we have our temples in Kemet in what we call Egypt. We can see the positions and see that our ancient ancestors practiced meditation. They used music as a meditative way as well, along with yoga. So that's what would make it. I see it more as the foundation. Everything else came from that. Mm, mhm, mhm, mhm. Right. Mm. The last part that you just said, no, but Brother Wayne Chandler is the scholar to speak on that, and he did mention that. But I don't know if in the editing world, sometimes things get cut that have great value, but they just didn't fit the line of what's going on at the time. So Wayne did say that in his interview with you, but that did not that particular part did not make it into the documentary. And then in regard to the images that we see in this, and we see our ancestors sitting straight up, that just demonstrates their example of ma'at to the people, because self-mastery is the first mastery that we should strive to have through knowledge and through the food that we put in our mouth and the thinking. Dr. Moore gave us a tremendous keynote on how to tune out to tune in, so that we can not allow the narratives and, for example, the local news that's happening that could possibly, make us think that it's the end, to affect us. So they sat in those positions to show example to the people of mastery and to be examples of that. Vince, the brother's asking, did you get his text? Okay, thank you. Yeah, believe it or not, the audience, you know how the audience will choose a person that they resonate with the most, and that seemed to be her, because literally they clapped and they bore witness during the times that she spoke. But Dr. Dunston, you're correct that she's the president and the CEO of the Whole Genome Science Foundation, and in terms of making history, she is the first African American to get a PhD in genetics. And as a result of that, she was brought into I think it was like a 20-year study where she and three other scientists were brought in to be investigators as they were identifying all the parts of the genome. Um, but to boil down where she resonates at the most in regard to it, she is a scientist, but she likes to also strive to speak on lay terms. And she lets us know that when you look at the genome, it's only about 2% of it that creates the physical body, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, everything. And that the rest is consciousness. The rest is God consciousness. And then that's where she wants her next ability to study. She wants it to be in that area. She believes that in some cases we're getting too caught up in our ancestry. Knowing our past is definitely important, or who we're connected to. But she's saying that we are superhuman beings and that the genome proves that. She brings that forward in the documentary very well. Right. Yes. They don't ever want to mention that original black woman must have had a black man at her side. They created black children. And brother ancient future, mind, everything, the first order is mind. So yes. But Dr. Dunston, she's just so incredible. And to be an elder, I would say that respectfully, to be an elder and to be so fiery and to have such knowledge. We plan to go sit with her again soon in the fall and go visit Howard University and take our interview with her to another level. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. So the film has four chapters, and the first one is diet. And Brother Wayne Chandler is the person that weaves through and brings us through and has the most logical way of us addressing changes in our diet, where he literally goes through steps like, hey, take a year and cut beef out. Take the next year, cut chicken out. Take the next year, cut fish out. Because he mentioned that during his time in at university, a friend of his came, and that the friend mentioned to him, well, I don't eat meat anymore. And he said, well, you don't eat meat, like, that's an amazing thing, like, why would you do something like that? But when the person said it's just not good for you, Wayne responded, it was like on a plane of resonance. It resonated with him. And we lots of things resonate with us that's opposite of how we do, and we should accept that. And so he was in the spirit to accept that, and he began the process of his own diet change. So he is prominent in chapter 1, which is diet. And he has his incredible book, Ancient Future, and is a is it Qigong, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, a master
Qigong,
of
yes.
that. Qigong, yes. So other than sitting and looking at his image right now, to be honest, he and I have not met um, in person. So that's also the beauty of the documentary. Several of the people, I did not know them, but when I was able to reach, connect, tell them what I was trying to do, ask, can I interview you, blah, blah, blah. Everyone said yes without hesitation, which kind of like blew me back. Like, whoa, okay. No one said, hey, have you ever done this before? Or how many films have you made? Or anything. Everyone jumped in like family. So I'm very grateful for that.
Okay. Brother Wayne, could you speak to us just so we can see whether or not we can hear you?
Yeah, testing. 1 2 1 2.
Okay, I hear something. To my engineer, are you hearing Wayne Chandler okay? Okay, he's not hearing you. So, Brother Wayne, I'm gonna have to have you call the radio station 216-578-1490, and we'll be able to get your audio in. And while we make that transition, Sister Gail, Yirser Ra Hotep, he seems to be the expert on Kemetic Yoga. Talk about his role in the film.
Right. Deonk, the Science of Kemetic Yoga, started out with my interview with just Yasir in 2018. We went into the studio here, got awesome footage done. And every time I went to begin to figure out, okay, what we're going to do, what B roll do we want to bring in, it just seemed flat. And it wasn't because it didn't have great value, it did. But I needed more than that. So we were able to reach out to his teacher, Asar, because Yasir has been practicing Kemetic Yoga for over 40 some years and is a master teacher and travels the world to certify other Kemetic Yoga instructors. But in Kemetic Yoga, you're taught proper diet. In Kemetic Yoga, you're taught your correct history of yourself. In Kemetic Yoga, you're taught about the power of your physical anatomy and your spiritual anatomy and the power of words and your belief. And in Kemetic Yoga, you're bringing everything into alignment, mind body connection. So all of the chapters that I've separated in the documentary really fit into just Kemetic Yoga. So we end with the fourth chapter of Kemetic Yoga and um, his teacher Asar speaking about how dedicated he was as a teacher, and we wouldn't have Kemetic Yoga without him. So we are tremendously grateful for that.
Okay. Also, you had Dr. T. Owens Moore. I know he is an expert on the brain and neurology and melanin. What did his chapter deal with?
Well, he weaves throughout the documentary as the most common sense approach, which is why the reason he was brought as a keynote speaker to talk on tuning out and tuning in, because he naturally spoke that way all through the whole interview. And that's what we all need to do because everyone, well, how do I get started? Well, how do I get started? You get started by starting with yourself, quieting yourself, beginning to meditate, beginning to do yoga, and tuning out the TV and the radio and all of the other energies that don't align with happiness and you evolving. So, of course, he's a author of I think around 7 or 8 books, all on melanin and the body. So he can go extremely scientifically deep. But throughout the whole interview, he just was so very logical of how we can get started to make changes. So that's just who he is.
Yes.
He doesn't need to throw out big words, you know.
Yeah. Well, I know that Dr. Moore is extremely aware of the impact and the effects of radiation and all that other kind of stuff on us. Like, he's not someone that will hold a phone to his head. He has shown us with instruments that there is radiation emanating from devices even when they're turned off. He demonstrated that. I'm also mindful of the fact that there is a connection, direct connection between the things that Dr. Moore was talking about and Wayne Chandler is talking about in terms of, as you were saying, tuning everything out and basically going within. So within Qigong, you have those practices where you get into a meditative state, where you quiet your mind. And he's done demonstrations on how to properly meditate, because it's really all about the breath. And I think that's kind of a connection between yoga and qigong and some other modalities, the Eastern modalities, that you have to be, extremely aware of your breath, and your breath can actually provide healing to your body when you channel it properly. We were very privileged to witness a workshop that that Brother Wayne did a few weeks back, and he and another practitioner were showing us exercises. They do things like controlled breathing, where you breathe through one nostril and then you switch over to the other nostril. There are ways that you can use qigong if you're having issues with sleep. There are movements that you can make and sounds that you can create that will give energy to the sacral chakra and enable you to have a good night's rest. So there's just so much power in this. And I'm imagining that your film is delivering that message.
It's delivering the message, and it's more like a prick, a reminder. It's not doing it in any judgmental way. And that's why I was really happy. So it was nerve-wracking to sit in the theater to watch something I've seen over 100 times with people who are watching it the first time. And that's the first time I was able to experience that, and to see me. I'm in the documentary as I bring in each chapter, and to see me on the big screen. So that was kind of odd, but everyone walked away from that excited, wanting to know more about Kemetic Yoga. Where can they begin to practice? Wanting to make conscious decisions about the food that you put in your mouth. The entire weekend, we had a Friday and a Saturday event. We had all vegan chefs. So the Friday night event, it was about 35 people. We didn't tell them that it was vegan food, because, vegan food nowadays can look like regular food. But they just was throwing back, eating the food. And during an announcement, we let them know that. And a lot of them were shocked. Some of them knew. But in many cases, you have people who won't try it because they just don't try new things. So if you don't tell them, so yeah, it was a little sneaky way to do it, but everyone enjoyed it. And now their mind is bent more towards trying something new, or maybe, how they say meatless Monday. Maybe they'll take a Monday and not eat meat or whatever. So
yeah, I could testify.
I would like
to
that. Yeah.
Just a quick anecdote. When I did my retirement party 8 years ago, 8 years ago, I had it catered by a vegan caterer, and I didn't tell anybody. And just like you said, they ate it up. And then after they were finished, I said, well, that lasagna was vegan lasagna. And they were like, what?
What? Right. So don't act like you're going to get congestion, because you're not. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But what were you going to say?
I was going to say, speaking on breath is a really good way to segue into Yirser Hapi, who is Yirser's instructor. Yirser came to him as a result of Yirser looking around in his family in his early 20s and seeing the men in his family die. They were dying at age 40 and 50. And he himself was internally sick, something he had been dealing with as a child, based on however, the family ate. So he began to take on a different way to eat. And through that, he was introduced to yoga. But he was in his mind, he was like, I'm not going to take no yoga class, because, he had a mental vision of something and someone different teaching it. But he did listen to the person, and he went. And here he looks, he sees a black man from Chicago that looked like him. He was 6 feet 5 inches and tall, slim. So he was like, wow, okay. That instantly blew all the thinking that he had about what yoga would be away. And it's the study between those two men, the study of ancient Kemet, that aligns the postures and the positions and the breathing in Kemetic Yoga with what we see in Kemet.
Yes. So you had an opportunity to go to Kemet. I'm just wondering how that impacted you and how it connected you with the subject of this film.
It's I came back. They the the language and the imagery, and it needed to be here in America because people don't see it often, or either you'll see pictures of the Great Pyramids and you may or see a camel, or and that's about it. You don't really get to see much more than that. So the language, the images, they need to be here in America more. We need to see them. We need to align with them because there's energy with them. And that was like an assignment given to me. I went to Kemet in 2018 and then again in last year in 2021. But even in 2018, I came back with an assignment, and it was I need to bring this back. I need to bring this back in a way that can be digested, no matter what your belief system is. That you could see the beauty in it and see the value in it. My initial reason for wanting to go in 2018 was I wanted to go to a place and time before dogmatic religion. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see how though at the time those people lived. And now going, I see that the Hollywood version of Egypt is nothing compared to putting your feet on the ground and seeing and going with conscious people, someone who's going to teach you the true history. It's nothing compared to that. We are such a magnificent people, and we're able to unite and be united and work together and create majestic things and majestic lifestyles. So that was the assignment given to me, and I'm just at the beginning of it. I always hoped and prayed that for what I was told to do is respected and honored, and that the people that came along with me to be in the documentary, that I have shown them in the proper light and have honored them in a way that they agree to see themselves put out in the world that way. And it's a lot of it's a lot of heavy responsibility on that.
Well, I think, what it really comes down to is it's the ancestors at work. It's the way
Mhm,
that they show up in our lives. And
mhm,
we're not always fully and totally conscious of why it happens. But, again, just being in anecdote sharing mode, when I was in Ghana in 2017, um, I participated in a ritual in which we poured a libation, and we were at the slave dungeon in Elmina, which is the very first one that was built. After we did the libation, we walked down to the beach, and we were given a piece of fruit, and we were told to toss that fruit out into the ocean and have a conversation with the ancestors, and I did. And on that day, and in that moment, I told the ancestors that I wanted to bring the message of Africa to African Americans.
mhm.
And that evening, I got an inbox message from Dr. Renoko Rashidi.
Okay.
And he said that
Okay.
he wanted to come to Cleveland. And I guess he wanted me to be responsible for him while he was here. And that
Mhm,
was the beginning of quite a few lectures that he did. He took folks to the Cleveland Museum of Art, and he walked them through the
mhm,
Egyptian exhibition and explained
mhm,
a lot of the artifacts to them. So since they couldn't make the voyage over to Kemet, they could come to the museum. He talked about the museum. He said it was one of his favorites, even though it's not on the level of some of the other museums. But Dr. Rashidi often described museums as depositories of stolen loot.
That's exactly what it is. And he's also talks about what might be in the basement of those museums that they have not displayed yet. Yes, yes.
Yes.
What a magnificent brother for him to travel the world looking for evidence of melanated people, and he found it everywhere he went.
Yes. Yeah. It
Mhm.
was absolutely incredible, and to visit all of those places with him, he wasn't as mobile as he could have been because of his weight and other situations. I find it ironic, but perhaps not, that when he made transition, that's where it was. He traveled back to Kemet to do a tour, and I think within the first day or so, he made transition.
Yeah, it was by the second day, Vince, because that morning, which would have been a Tuesday morning, Brother Asazi, Jabari Asazi, and our brother that we're talking about were supposed to have a lecture with his group and our group together. So we woke up that morning to the news. It happened
Oh, so
that
you were
Monday.
there then?
Yeah, we were there. And you know
Oh,
what's really, really beyond? I mean, the whole thing is just like, it just takes you back. There's like no words. And then when we go to visit Brother Anthony Browder's excavation, they had prepared a lift for him because he wasn't able to physically get down into some areas. And so the people on our tour were able to use the lift that was for Brother Renoko to go down, way down into a part of the excavation that, that Brother Browder and his crew and staff out there had created for him. So that, I mean, it just continued to be a bittersweet experience. And yeah, so now we lift his name as an ancestor, and ancestors are waiting for us to call them because they're ready to help.
so as we're talking about Kemet, can you reflect on some of the places that you visited while you were there?
Yes, both times I did a lot of the same, but this last time we went to an area which, if you travel with Brother Jabari Asazi, he will correct you to give you the name that it should be called. Now, I would have to dig through a whole bunch of paper right now, which I cannot do on this show, for me to get to the correct title. But I was able to visit. Okay, yes, it's Abydos. That was a place that I went to that I had not gone to before. But he said it's also called the Ramses Mary Amun, which is the proper name for it. It is the most incredible structure that is carved out of a solid mountain. And so if you or I were to stand at the foot of it, it would potentially take 2 to 3 football fields in height. Um, and it is just incredible. We went to another area called Dandiro, which is the temple of Het Heru, the most beautiful house that has this courtyard, and you walk through and all the rooms are so still intact. You could just imagine the furniture and the life and the people who were there. It just comes to you easily. That I because of Brother Minoko, I strive to try to align where I go to the dynasty. So that particular area of Dondero deals with the dynasties 23, 24, and 25. Um, we went to, apologize.
Abu Simbel.
Yes, yes, yes. And I have some just the next thing I think I want to do is put these pictures in order, learn more through Brother Jabari and his beautiful queen, Sister Nika. She's always responded to every text. I'm like sending her pictures, like, what does this mean? What is this? What's the correct spelling for this? And she always bounces right back. I love them for that. They are so willing to teach. And that's what I mean by traveling to that country with a group that is conscious and is willing to spend all of their time. Sometimes you'll go do a whole tour. As soon as you get back, okay, in about an hour, we'll be downstairs for a lecture. Like, okay, I'm down there with my book. I'm ready. But everybody, I don't think everyone is ready to give to that degree. Of course, we went down the Nile, the Hopi River. If I'm not mistaken, the only river in the world that flows opposite of everything else. I don't know why, but it does. And
Gravity
it's
is
just,
why.
right, but gravity just in that area.
Yeah.
We about to change the subject of the,
Okay.
pardon?
Someone is just calling in and they want to talk about the video. We got a
Okay.
couple of moments before we go to break. Yeah, patching through. Who is it? You're on the air. Okay, they're gone. Okay. All
And
right.
then one of the other things is to see the oldest pyramid on earth built by Imhotep, the step pyramid. The proper word for pyramid is Merkut. So those are the types of things that I strive to place in my head where I can speak it without having to look at notes. And it's a study.
Yeah.
It's a study that we'll have until we take our last breath.
Yeah, and I think it's also important for us, as you mentioned, to refer to them in the original. I mean, I really don't even like saying Egypt because it's giving credit to the Greeks for something that they're not responsible for. The fact of the matter is they appropriated so much knowledge and wisdom from us, and then they put it out there to the world as if they were responsible for it. The most glaring idea for me is the Pythagorean theorem. That was
Yes, yes,
Imhotep. That wasn't
yes.
Pythagoras. I really don't like saying the Sphinx, or the Sphinx, as some folks say, because I know it as Hermetic. But if I say Hermetic, nobody knows what I'm talking about. So, we got a lot of work to do in terms of educating our folks about
Yeah,
their.
we should continue to say the proper word because that's the same for naming Kemetic Yoga. Kemetic Yoga. Yirser thought about it and thought about it. He was like, "Well, we could say Egyptian yoga, but that makes people think of the contemporary Egypt today." So he
Mhm.
made a deliberate decision to call it Kemetic Yoga because we need to learn.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a quick break and let the folks know about the African American Museum. When we come back, we're going to take the caller who is on, and we're also going to reach out to Brother Wayne and see if we can't get him on as well. You're listening to 360 Info Network with Vince Robinson. My guest this morning is Gaile C. Ferguson, a filmmaker. She has created a great work. It's called Ankh, The Science of Kemetic Yoga. And we're going to get a chance to talk more about that film. And we're going to do another show on StreamYard and bring some of the other folks who are involved in this film. We'll do it in the evening where everybody can witness it. And maybe you'll even be able to see a clip of the film. We'll see what we can do about that. We'll explore those possibilities and more. We'll be right back with more 360 Info Network right after this. Okay. Okay.
I'm calling Wayne.
Yeah.
Wow.
Welcome back to 360 Info Network. Vince Robinson here, and I have Gaile Ferguson on the line with me. I just actually hung up on Brother Wayne, so I'm going to try to reach him again. We also have on the line with us Mohammed, who was calling in. We'll take your call, Mohammed. Hey, Wayne, call the station.
Is it okay to chime in? Thank you, Brother Muhammad, for both questions. To
Okay. Now,
answer
there
the
was a
first
brother
one, the
named Muhammad
documentary can
calling
be
now,
obtained
but he
on
saw what we get through.
vimeo.com. That's vimeo.com.
Okay.
And when you go there, you'll click on the search and you'll type in Ankh, which is DI space ANKH. That's where you can rent it for it's a 3-day rental. And no, that brother's name that you just mentioned, I have not had the privilege to meet him, and I'll say yet. So no, sir, I have not.
Yes, Ashra Kwesi is someone who does tours in Kemet, and his tours, he'll have 100 people on them. That's what he does year in and year out. He's been doing it, I don't know, maybe 30 years or so. So he's
Hmm. Hmm.
visited Cleveland a few times, thanks to Brother Lynn. He's had him on as a like a truth series. So we've been able to witness his photographs and his documentation of Kemet. And as a matter of fact, I wear a necklace that I purchased from his lovely wife. It's been a part of me for, I don't know, maybe 10 years since he was here. So Ashra Kwesi is doing great things, and he's very
Excellent.
knowledgeable about the history and the people of Kemet. So thanks for your call, Brother Muhammad. All right. Okay, you do the same. So I was able to reach Rain. He's been trying to call the station, but for some reason he hasn't been able to get through. Hopefully he has been able to get through. You're involved in film production. I know you have some things up on YouTube as well. Could you talk about your career as a filmmaker and juxtaposing that with, the work that you do outside of film and being able to do both?
Okay, good. Very good question. Thank you. So I think about 2010, 2011, I started going to the community college and taking evening classes because I have a day job. So I would take evening classes in their film program. I literally got to class at 6 p.m. and the class would be from 6 to 10. And we did that. I did that over a period of several years, taking editing, directing, whatever. So I got to the point where I aligned myself with a writer here who had all these great ideas and was very good at managing and organizing people. So I became a producer and a assistant director of 2 feature films, and I had that under my belt. And then we parted ways, and I took a time, just a beat, to think about, okay, Gail, you got into film initially because you had this idea to do documentaries. And then in 2018, I met Yirser. And when I met him, um, something came to me that I needed to take him into the studio for his story to be documented in a way other than just me listening to it or a handheld camera. So that started the beginning of Gail doing her documentaries. At first, I thought my documentaries were going to be on a whole nother subject, and maybe in the future I may go back to that. But right now, Deonk, the Science of Kemetic Yoga,
Okay.
is the one that is the freshman project, and I'm very proud of it and happy that this is where I began on my own.
Well, I'm happy to have been a part of it. I've got all kinds of creative ideas. I got a lot of footage of Dr. Inoko Rashid. And I'm thinking that I might need to do a documentary myself because I can document his visits here to Cleveland. I can also document our visit to Kemet and the Sudan. We were in the Sudan for a whole week and we were close to the ground. We weren't riding around on a luxury Mercedes bus. We were in
Right.
Toyota Land Cruisers that were like, 10, 15 years old, driving through the desert where there was no road. I mean, there was no road. And how they knew how to get to where they were getting, it still boggles my mind, but they knew exactly what they were doing. We've
Yeah,
been
I'm
joined by,
excited. I want to see that. I want to see that.
okay, we have been joined by Brother Wayne Chandler. Brother Wayne, how you feeling this morning? Okay, well, we're certainly glad to have you. You have a prominent role in this film, and I was really happy to accommodate Miss Ferguson by recording that segment for you. So, how are you feeling about your participation in the film, and what did you bring to it? Yeah, no
We
question
do.
about that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No apologies needed on that. You were there in spirit.
yeah. So while you were gone, Sister Gail and I actually talked about doing a show, and we'll do it in the evening time on StreamYard, and we'll have you on. If we're fortunate, we'll be getting Brother Yirser and Dr. Moore, T. Owens Moore, and then we can all talk about this great project. And as if I'm not mistaken, uh, we will be seeing this film in the Greater Cleveland Urban Film Festival. Is that correct, Gail?
It has been submitted. It's they have not reached the date where they make their decisions, so I don't know yet. I don't want to speak ahead of it, but it has been submitted, and we anxiously wait to hear word that it may be accepted and actually screened. That'd be incredible.
Okay. Well, I might need to make a few phone calls or send some text messages to try to push that
Yeah, why
along.
don't you?
But I think you really have a good chance of getting in the film festival. As I was telling you, the executive director of the film festival really loves documentaries, and it would
Mhm.
just be great to have a documentary that's got a local angle, and that at least two of the participants are from Cleveland, and others are not strangers to folks here in Cleveland. So this is positive information. It's useful information that we need to get out to the public. Brother Wayne, before we let you go, anything that you want to part with? Okay.
Brother Wayne, can you confirm that you received the email with a link and password to Vimeo? No, sir. Over the weekend, I sent everyone that's casting crew a link to Vimeo and a password for you to have your viewing, your personal viewing. Okay.
Okay. So we will continue this conversation very soon. We want to do all that we can to promote this great film, and I'm
Thank
kind of
you.
anxious to see it. I've been ripping and running, Gail. You have no
Yeah.
idea, but
You just got to
perhaps you
carve
could.
out 82 minutes. 82 minutes. That's all.
Yeah, I'll carve out 82 minutes to watch it. Trust and believe. I do sit down every once in a while, contrary to popular belief. But thanks for joining us on 360 Info Network. And again, I look forward to our next conversation where we'll have more control over our technical issues as we didn't today. But there are folks who have suffered through what we've done and they've gotten the message, and we'll get this message out to more. So
Right.
thanks for joining us, Sister Gail.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having
And
me.
Brother Wayne, thanks to you as well. We'll be talking before the weekends. All right. All right. Peace and prosperity. All right. Okay, so with that, we'll just send you a few more reminders. Don't forget the Emoja Festival that is in progress downtown as we speak. You can go down to Point Park. There are vendors, there's going to be entertainment, all of the things that go along with the festival. I think they are probably about to start the parade. I don't know exactly what time it starts, but in the past, it has started sometime around the noon hour. So, it only takes 15 to 20 minutes for folks to get downtown, depending on where you live. Take some time, go out and celebrate Africa and African Americans living together in harmony in something called Umoja, which is a Swahili word that means unity. It is a unity festival and it exemplifies what unity and Umoja are all about. Also, don't forget Kenge will be at Larchmere Arts on Friday, July 1st. So if you want to get your tickets in advance, just send 7 to $THASOULPOET. That is the Soul Poet. And one last reminder, if you are interested in positive income, passive income, getting paid every week, you can just send a text message to 216-780-2470. Just text cash flow and you can get plugged in and you can start earning right away. At this point, I would like to thank our engineer Tone for pulling everything together for us in spite of the technical issues that we have had. The technical issues are on my end and not on his end. So just so everybody knows. We also appreciate you tuning in. Know yourself, love yourself, be yourself. Make today a great day. Peace. All right, bro. Take care.